everyone, and welcome back to Macro Day here on Scriptcase by Jamie. And today we are talking about a small but also very powerful macro that gives you razor sharp control over your logic form, or the form and its logic. Now, it's the key to running specific code only when a user is modifying an existing record. And today that means we are going to dive into the SC button update macro. So let's dive in, shall we? Hello and welcome back to Macro Day here on Scriptcase by Jamie, and I am Jamie, of course. I hope you have subscribed for more macro goodness already, and if not, you know where those buttons are. Just go ahead and click them. It helps me know that you are interested in watching these macro videos before I just give up all hope in society and life and everything else. Okay, so today's macro is the SC button update, and yes, I know I have some dashes here, and those should not be there, but without them, this actually presents me an error message because this is one of those special macros. So it has a very special purpose, and it is SC_BTN_update, and it is a conditional macro. So, or should I say a Boolean variable macro, however you like, and this returns true or false. And when you click the save or update button within your form, then this macro would know that the form is currently in edit mode, and it will modify the existing record. And the purpose of this is to allow you to run code that is specific to that update process. So you click update in your form, and then with the update, you have some extra processes or functionality happening in the background, and that is what this macro is for. So it does make it very distinct from the insertion process, okay? So where you would maybe use the SC button insert or check for the SC button new macro. Using those two macros, they are very good. And of course, this macro is along those lines. So the scope and syntax is pretty straightforward because, as I mentioned, this is again one of those special macros. So let me come here into a form application, and then here we have then our events, and then on validate failure, and on validate success are the events where we can use this macro, because when we click that update or save button, you have some validation processes happening first, and these are basically those. So here I would say then if the SC_button_update is clicked, then within our curly brackets here, we would then have an extra statement or logic that would then process something else, or whatever that is that you are actually doing there when the update button is clicked on your form. So that is very important to note. Now you can use this macro within the form and calendar applications, and it is typically most effective on post-validation events, as I just indicated, on validate failure, as well as on validate success. Now what we can do then here is basically maybe insert something to the log. So if I have here, for instance, a user using my form, and then what I want to do is then every time they update, I want to insert into my audit log, and then keep those relevant details for the user maybe, or the product, or whatever it is that I am wanting to validate or include within the validation, should I say. So you can enforce validation rules also that only apply when a user is trying to update a record to a specific status. So for instance, if a status is closed or empty, I say closed, or maybe the date, the completion date, for instance, or the start date is empty, then maybe we want to display an error message to let them know they need to add those extra fields. It's not just a case of changing the status, but you also need to add a completion date or a start date or whatever that is. And you can run that logic then within these brackets and off you go. Now, it is pretty important to note here that this macro, in tandem with the SC button new and SC button insert, do cover all possible submission types for within your forms, and that's why this macro is quite important. And then placing this logic within the onValidate is typically best for catching errors before the database transaction. So here on validate failure and success, that transaction has already happened, so that is very important to note. So while the onValidate success is best for post-transaction activities such as logging in this case, then maybe you would want to use this specific code that I've just created here and use that here within the onValidate success. So once the form has been updated, and maybe here within the onValidate event, you've processed some extra logic here, and then within the success or failure, maybe then you would want to insert here into your audit log. Of course, that is entirely up to you, and that is the power of Scriptcase. You create it, you build it, and with that you have something awesome. So just like that, well, that's pretty much all there is, because it is a pretty straightforward macro. And this tool is ideal for mastering your forms update logic. So do be aware of that. And the SC button update is your key to building secure, auditable, as well as business rule compliant forms, which I would think is the majority of you. So if you found this video helpful, give us a thumbs up, subscribe for more macro day goodness, and let me know in the comments how you are using this macro within your forms. And otherwise, I will see you next week Friday right here for another macro day with me, Jamie, at ScriptcaseByJamie, of course. So thanks for watching, and until next week, right here, macro day.